What's up, everybody? Today we are doing front brake pads, just the pads, on a Ram Promaster City. All right, let's get started. First things first, once you get the car jacked up, if you're using jack stands, I am blessed enough to have a lift inside of my garage, so I know it's nice. Um, and I got the name over here, Scams Auto. Yep. Anyways, I know I haven't posted a video in a while. I only posted one video, actually, and this is going to be the second. I've done so much work in the matter since the last video to now, and let's get to it. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to take off the brake fluid lid. And once you take that off, put it somewhere nice and neat to the side. And I like to put a rag around there then too, because once you go to push back in the brake, the piston inside the brake caliper, you might get some fluid coming out of here. And rather than cleaning it up then, you can clean it up right now, right? Alright, anyway, so that's there. We're going to start with removing the front wheels. So to remove the front wheel, these lug bolts, should I say, they're not nuts. They're actually the long bolts that come out. It's a 17. I'm using a deep socket. I'm going to use my air compressor. I already have it plugged in. We're going to start with taking up those 5 bolts. I like to put them right here to the side on the lift and put the wheel somewhere nice and safe in here. Let's get to it. Alright, now that we got the wheel off, the lug nuts, lug bolts are all off, wheels off. Next is we're going to pop off this little clip here. And I know my brakes are not gone, but we try to keep up with these vans because the owner are hauling these things. These things are being used more than I'm at my house. So, yeah, they're a little low, but it's always good to get them done sooner than later. And believe it or not, these rotors were replaced about a year ago or two, something like that. Anyways, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take off this little metal clip by just using a flathead and pushing this back, and then it pops right out. I'm trying to do it with one hand. I did it. And same thing down here. And yeah, the one hand man. Yeah, well, you can probably just do this. It's not that big of a deal. There you go. It's kind of hard with one hand. That worked out. Anyways, make sure your brakes come with new of these if you plan on butchering like the way I did. It didn't really get butchered, but still, some people would think that. Alright, anyways, after you're done doing that, next it's I'm going to use a small flathead. This guy will work. He'll do the job. Let's get some white in here. We're going to pop off this cap. That's the whole brake caliper. So we're going to pop off this cap right here. Like that so. And then we are going to pop off this bottom one as well. Right here. Just like so. You don't got to pry on it too hard. They actually come out pretty easily. Alright, after you do that, next, you're going to be using, this is what I use, the T40, or also a star. So he'll go right inside of that hole, and yeah, he's pretty loose. I'm gonna not go with that one. That was what, a T40? Let's go with a T45. T45. Let's give him a whirl. Oh yeah, he's the one. Yep. So you want to go with a T45 or the Star Guy. We're going to get handy dandy ratchet, and we're going to set it to loose mode. That's what I like to say to a lot of people. But put it on left, or make sure that when you crank this, it's going towards. Let me give you a tutorial on how to use a ratchet. When you have it on loose, when you're turning the ratchet, you want to make sure you're going towards the left or counterclockwise. And loosen. And loosen. So that's what we're about to do right now. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So let's get to it. And actually, before we do that, let's backtrack. There's actually a sensor in here for the brakes. It's connected to the actual brake pad, so you can actually just slide this little part out. I like to bend them a little bit and then slide them out of there. Again, it's kind of hard with one hand. And you're going to unclip them from this guy right here and then slide them off like that. It's very simple. Again, make sure your new ones come with a new one. Not that guy. A new brake wear sensor right there. And let me get to it. Alright, next, I took off these guys already, so they are loose and out of there. Now we're gonna just try to push this guy over a little bit just to get some of that leadway. Okay, there we go. See how it's moving in? Just a little pressure on there. So now it's able to actually wiggle right off. See that? It's nice and smooth, ready to come off. Before I do that though, I'm gonna get a bungee cord to bungee cord him up. If I can find where I put my bungee cords. Before you decide to hang him up with a zipped bungee cord, yeah, you're gonna want to use a C-clamp, and you're gonna put this onto there and onto here, and then tighten him up so you can slide that piston all the way back in. Otherwise, when you put in the new brake pads into here and one onto there, so you slide one back in. I'll get to it in a second when I get to it. But this guy can come out. I like to put a little grease on inside of these little notches and these holes. I'm gonna clean them up a little bit in there. And the same back here. See those little notches? I can put a little grease into there. I want to re-grease up these bolts. Like I said, I just use multi-purpose grease, all-purpose grease, whatever you want to call it. Seems to work just fine. So let me get to that. All right, we got the new ones, the new clip, new sensor. Sensor broke off of the, well, it fell off of this one, to be honest with you. Excuse me. Either way, we're gonna put grease on what we call the ears of the brake pads, right here, and right here, and right here, and right here. And also, I'm going to put some grease all over these guys too. The bolts that go back into to hold the brake caliper back onto, yeah. So whenever those bolts slide in and out, they're not so unlubed. As you can see here, these look like they were getting rubbed on pretty good. Alright, I'm going to get to greasing these up, and then we're going to get to what's next. Alright, so now you got them all nice and greased up. We're going to slide these guys into place, just like that, where one belongs. And then I'm going to go with the other one, and you got to pop them inside of there. These little metal tabs, it just literally pops right in. And then make sure the wire comes out of here. I'll show you in a second then. Alright, so after you have that brake pad back on nice greased up, I have that one nicely greased up, and I put the brake wear sensor back through here. So when I put everything back on, we're going to make sure he clips back into the connector that gives signal to the vehicle. Alright, so let's work on lining him back up onto here, and we can slide those bolts back in and lock him in. And like I said, these are the bolts. I put some grease onto there, so when I slide them back through here, yeah, I'm gonna have a little lubrication going on. So once it gets hot, this thing be squealing. I'm pretty sure that was the culprit. So put that one back in, put that bottom one back in, tighten them back down. I'm gonna get to that clip part next. All right, so I have back in the brake pads. I have this wire still hanging. I'm not connected just yet. But when you connect it, I'll show you right now. You line this guy back up into here. Yep. Into there. Like so. Again, it's kind of hard doing this with one hand. There we go, my lap got it. So we'll slide him back into here. Boop, boop. I'm just going to slide around, by the way. There we go. Nice and secure back into there. And then this little guy back here, there's a little slide little lip right here. If you look under there, it's a little slide guide. Because back here there's a little metal lip for this guy to slide onto there. That's where he just hangs out at. So, just like that. And there you go. And he's hanging out. Right onto there. Just slide right in. Just like that. Now, we're going to run this guy back down. Kind of like a little X right here. Run him back down and into here. And then clip him back on. So as you can see, it has a little hook right here. So you know that's the right way to attach it onto there. So we're going to slide him back in. Clip, clip. Nice and tight. Alright, so that's that. Good to go. Now, for this clip part. We are going to, see how they have a little indents right there? So we're going to put that onto there, and then we're going to kind of push it. I'm going to have to pause this. We're going to have to push this and make them line into this hole. Or, let me see something here. I can actually yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that. Alright, like I said, I'm gonna put that onto there and then push it in and lock them into them holes and then let it slide back. So line that up to there, that one down to there. You're gonna push in on this part where these metal lips, they line up into these two circles. That circle and that circle. So it's gonna line into those holes and it's gonna make sure it slides up where it locks inside of there. Alright, I'm gonna do so right now. Alright, so what I ended up doing was actually an even better idea. I actually did like a one kind of motion. I put a tab there and then a tab down there, and I kind of like had those relatively close in there. I forced them in. Well, the word force sounds like I did not do it right there if you put it that way. I slid them in backwards, should I say, where it popped in, and I let them fly back out. And then they're nice and secure now. Not too bad. This is my first time doing this, by the way, but well, on this kind of van. the guy that owns this van, he has quite a few of them. Yeah, that's how we're gonna line that up, just like that. And I'm gonna just clean up a little bit around all this. Now it's time to double check to make sure you didn't miss anything and clean up any mess you made. Oh yeah, so he slides back over. Not bad, not bad. All right. Oh, and don't forget to put back on your plastic caps back here. The top one and the bottom one. I guess it's just more so to keep any kind of rust or corrosion on them bolts. And that's doing front brake pads on your Ram Promaster City. Again, these are the littler vans of the Promaster. Now I'll put back on this wheel. I'm gonna go do the other side. You're gonna do the exact same thing except on the opposite side in the front. And then once you finish up that, get inside, pump the brakes first a couple of times. Well, make sure you put back on this cap whenever you are completely done. Then pump the brakes a couple of times with the van off. Turn it on, pump them a couple more times, and then you should be good to go. Make sure your fluid is back to the maximum level it's supposed to be sitting at. And that's it for now. Until next time, if this helped you out, don't be scared to give me a thumbs up. And if you had a lot of negative things to say, you can feel free to leave them. Because nowadays, that's what everybody does. They just point out all the negative things. Don't have nothing positive to say majority of the time. All right, I'm out of here. Scams Auto. Gonna try to make more of these.